Welcome everybody to my class on how to make a summer album. This is the start where I start for most of large projects. I start in Photoshop Elements and I map out my projects using canvases. That's what I call them. You go up to File, New, and you're going to open a canvas. I usually stick with 48 by 30 for 2 rows of 6 by 8, or you could go a little bigger so you have 3 rows. Once I have those canvases, I am going to break down my photos into chapters. First by month, then by chapters. I decided to come up with a simpler way to document summer so I wasn't overwhelmed, and I came up with this concept of chapters. 7 chapters to tell your story during summer. And it is really easy and really fun, and if you stick to it, then you can have an entire summer album documented. Now that I have my canvas open, I can start cropping my photos and building my pages and building my album and getting started on that. Here is my June canvas that I have gotten started on. I'm going to show you how I put together July canvas, but this is how it looks once you get all of your photos cropped and anything digital that you want to add. I will be using a mix of mostly physical and stamps. I'm going to show you lots of ways to use stamps, and I'll also add in some digital stuff if I'm missing anything. I also have a introduction page that will be summer stories, and I'm going to go ahead and redo this, but I just wanted to show you what I have, which is a 6 by 8 page, well, actually a little bit bigger, 6.75 by 8.25, to tell all the stories of summer, just highlighting the various stories. When I made this one, it was a really long time ago, and I thought I was only going to do June. So I am going to go ahead and go back and redo this. But this is what it started out as, is just a running list of all the different summer stories. And now I'm just showing you how I took that and dragged and dropped it to the top of the canvas, so that way you can see how it looks. So the first chapter is adventures. So I included things like the town fair, or visiting a new location, going on a hike, things like that you would consider adventures. And then the next category that I am going to include is water, and anything to do with water, going to the lake, the pool, the beach. And I will pull up the second canvas for June, because I think June is going to wind up with 2 canvases. So it should pull up in just a minute, and I can show you how the chapters continue. Here we go. There is water right there up in the top left corner, and then we move on to friends. And then the library is just a small little insert, and then we have going to visit family, and then local, because we did the farmers market and we did some summer camps. So those are the 7 chapters. I have that all detailed and explained down below in the lesson notes. The other thing that I wanted to include, in case it is helpful to you, is how I crop my photos. I take a 4x6 and I'm going to go up to View and add a guide. The guides are those bright green lines that you see right there. I'm going to add one in the middle at 3 inches, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place my photos on the left and the right and center them. That way I will be able to crop them right in half when I get them back from printing. So the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to show you how I start to build a canvas. I make the canvas gray. I think I may have already mentioned this, but I make the canvas gray, that way I can see my photos when they are on mats. And what I just placed is mats, photo mats, 6 by 8, 4 by 6, and 3 by 4, 3 by 4. And I make those shapes, and then I am going to duplicate them, and that way I have several to use when I start to mat my photos. Like this one, I'm going to crop it at 5.75 by 7.75. And then I am going to mat it on top of a 6 by 8 photo mat. And this will start my August section. And as you can see, I just start to build it. And I don't necessarily need the photo mats because of the 4x6 printing canvas that I showed you a little bit ago, but I like to have the photo mats, that way I can see visually the photos and it just helps me bring everything together. Right now I am building the adventure section and just placing my photos where I want them. So I'm just going to continue with the cropping of my photos until I have every single section covered. For August, I'm going to continue to build the canvas. Then I'll put everything on the 4x6 to send off to be printed, and then I will be ready to go for the next step. So I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you in getting started on making a huge project of summer documenting. And I have so enjoyed sharing with you the behind the scenes with the computer, and we are now ready for the next step, which is photos printed and we can put them in the album. All right, I will see you in lesson 2.